Unit 3. Chapter 5 Judiciary, established the 1st of October 1937 as Federal Court of India, the 28th of January 1950 as Supreme Court of Judgments of the High Courts. The number of SC judges was increased by the Parliament and currently, there are 34 judges including the Chief Justice of India, CJI. Between the centre and any state government. The law that SC declares is binding on all the courts in India and on the Union as well as the state governments. Supreme Court of India. The Supreme Court of India is the country's highest judicial court. It is the final court of appeal. India. Black Circle Location, Tilak Marg, New Delhi. Motto, Yato Dharmastato Jaya, where there is Dharma, there will be victory. Composition Method, Collegium of the Supreme Court of India. Authorized by, Constitution of India. Black Circle Judge Term Length, Mandatory Retirement at 65 years of age. Black Circle Chief Justice of India, D.Y. Chandrachud. Black Circle D.Y. Chandrachud will take oath as the 50th Chief Justice of India. Supreme Court History. The Federal Court of India was created as per the Government of India Act 1935. This court settled disputes between provinces and federal states and heard appeals against. After independence, the Federal Court and the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council were replaced by the Supreme Court of India, which came into being in January 1950. The Constitution of 1950 envisaged a Supreme Court with 1 Chief Justice and 7 puisne judges. Supreme Court of India, functions. Black Circle. It takes up appeals against the verdicts of the high courts, other courts and tribunals. Black Circle. It settles disputes between various government authorities, between state governments, and it also hears matters which the President refers to it, in its advisory role. The SC can also take up cases suo moto, on its own. Powers of the Supreme Court. Power to punish for contempt, civil or criminal, of court with simple imprisonment for 6 months or fine up to 2,000 rupees. Black Circle Judicial Review to examine the constitutionality of legislative enactments and executive orders. Black Circle Deciding Authority regarding the election of President and Vice President. Inquiring authority in the conduct and behavior of UPSC members. Withdraw cases pending before high courts and dispose of them themselves. Black Circle Appointment of ad hoc judges. Article 127 states that if at any time there is a lack of quorum of judges of Supreme Court, appointment of retired judges of the Supreme Court or High Court. Article 128 states that the CJI at any time with the previous consent of the President. Appointment of acting Chief Justice. Article 126 states that when the office of CJI is vacant or when the Chief Justice is by reason of absence. Black Circle Revisory Jurisdiction. The Supreme Court under Article 137 is empowered to review any judgment. Supreme Court as a court of record. The Supreme Court is a court of record as its decisions are of evidentiary value and cannot be questioned in any court. Supreme Court Jurisdiction. The jurisdiction of the SC is of 3 types. Original. Read in detail about original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court in the linked article. Advisory. Notes on advisory jurisdiction of the Supreme Court are given in the linked article. Right pointing arrow appellate. Supreme Court composition. Including the CJI, there are 34 judges in the Supreme Court. The judges sit in benches of 2 or 3, called a division bench, or in benches of 5 or more, called a constitutional bench, when there are matters of fundamental questions of the law as to be decided. SC Judge Eligibility. Qualifications for the judges of the Supreme Court of India. Checkmark. The conditions to become the judge of the Supreme Court are given under Article 124(3) of the Indian Constitution. He must be a citizen of India. A person who is not a citizen of India cannot appear as a candidate for the judge of the Supreme Court of India. If he is an eminent jurist, the person must be the judge of a high court for at least 5 years or more. He has practiced as an advocate in a High Court of India or as an advocate of 2 or more High Court for at least 10 years. As per Article 124, an Indian citizen who is below 65 years of age is eligible to be recommended for appointment as a judge of the SC if she has been a judge of 1 or more High Courts for at least 5 years, or she has been an advocate in 1 or more High Courts for at least 10 years, or she is in the opinion of the President, a distinguished jurist. Appointment of judges. The judges of the Supreme Court are appointed by the President. The CJI is appointed by the President after consultation with such judges of the Supreme Court and High Courts as he deems necessary. Salaries and allowances. The salaries, allowances, privileges, leave and pension of the judges of the Supreme Court are determined from time to time by the Parliament. They cannot be varied to their disadvantage after their appointment except during a financial emergency. In 2021, the High Court and Supreme Court judges, Salaries and Conditions of Service, Amendment Bill, 2021 was introduced in Lok Sabha. The bill seeks to amend the High Court Judges, Salaries and Conditions of Service, Act, 1954, and the Supreme Court Judges, Salaries and Conditions of Service, Act, 1958. High Court of Karnataka. The High Court is composed of the Chief Justice of Karnataka and other judges. Judges are appointed by the President of India. Established 1884, 138 years ago. Jurisdiction: Karnataka. Location: Principal Bench Bengaluru, Main Bench, Additional Benches, Hubballi Dharwad, founded in 2008, became permanent in August 2013. Kalaburagi, established in 2008, became permanent in August 2013. Composition method: Presidential appointment on advice of the Chief Justice of India and the Governor of Karnataka. Authorized by Constitution of India. Judge term length: mandatory retirement at age 62. Number of positions: 62. Language: Kannada, English. Website: karnatakajudiciary.car.nic.in. Chief Justice: currently Prasanna B. Viral. Composition of High Court. Each state has one High Court. The High Court is headed by the Chief Justice of High Court. The Chief Justice is assisted by the other High Court judges. If required, Parliament can increase the number of High Courts to solve pending cases. Qualifications for appointment as Judge of High Court. High Court judge should be a citizen of India. Judge of the High Court held a judicial office for at least 10 years or worked as an advocate in a High Court for at least 10 years. Appointment. Right pointing arrow. Every judge is appointed by the President in consultation with the Chief Justice of SC and Governor of the concerned state. In case of appointment for other High Court judges, it is also done by the President in consultation with the Chief Justice of SC, Chief Justice of HC and Governor of the state. Removal of High Court judges. A judge of the High Court can be removed by the President on the grounds of proved misbehavior or incapacity. Approval of the 2/3 road majority of both the houses is also needed to go ahead with the impeachment of High Court judges. Retirement, at the age of 62 years. Transfer of High Court judges. President can transfer High Court judges from one High Court to another only if it is done in consultation with the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. In consultation with 4 senior-most Supreme Court judges. If approved by the Chief Justice of High Court, the High Court judge, who is transferred to another High Court, is entitled to get compensatory allowance in addition to his salary. Jurisdiction. Jurisdiction is the power that a court of law exercises to carry out judgments and enforce laws. Checkmark original jurisdiction. Appellate jurisdiction. Advisory jurisdiction. Judicial review. Original jurisdiction. Original jurisdiction processes the power to control those cases that cannot be advanced in other courts other than High Court. The original jurisdiction of the High Court extends to the matters of admiralty, will, matrimonial and contempt of court cases. Appellate jurisdiction. This processes the power to control the cases of appeal against the judgment provided by any district courts or any subordinate courts in the country. The cases include civil cases and the criminal cases. Advisory jurisdiction. Any government department, legislature or governor may mention and send a specific case for consideration to the High Court if it has certain special arrangements. This power of the High Court to control such cases is referred to as advisory jurisdiction. Judicial review. High Court is authorized to review any judgment or order developed by any subordinate court, with a perception of reducing any kind of mistake or error that can crept in the judgment. It is referred as judicial review. This is done in cases of errors of law, wrong judgment and flagrant error in procedure. Subordinate courts. Criminal court. Court of revenue. Salary of a judge in High Court. Under Article 221, a judge of one High Court is entitled to allowances and rights. The salary of a judge of a High Court is 80,000 Indian rupees per month. The salary of the Chief Justice of the High Court is 90,000 Indian rupees per month.